Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mantalk.ke. There's a cup in my hand. Why is there a cup in my hand? I'm not feeling all too great today, I'll be honest with you. But we soldier on. I've got my lemon tea here. I've got my strepsils behind there. Other brands are available. And today, we're going to be talking all about masculinity. We feel like as a channel, this is the essence of what we are. We talked about it a few episodes ago, but now we've created some questions that we think can help us really answer some things that we need to discuss around the subject of masculinity, which is going to be based on our experiences and just our opinion on society on the whole. So it's a standard Mantalk episode, but this time we're going to deep dive, Oscar. Have you got your snorkel?
Yeah, guys.
How you feeling?
The last episodes we've done on masculinity have been a bit of a rant. It's been a bit of a this is the problem, this is what we're suffering. But then this one I feel like I want us to like actually dive into the meat and potatoes of what masculinity means, especially around being black men. We didn't really use it as a focus because we thought, we're not trying to tokenize ourselves. But the thing is,
Good word.
yeah, it is important. But the thing is, we've gotten questions from the team that will help us structure the conversation a little bit better.
Who's in the team?
Me, you, and others. Right? Ask that question again, I'll slap you.
I always do that. I love it.
You. Right?
So which? Oh yeah, I remember that guy from the team.
No, it's
Yeah,
that guy
yeah,
from the
yeah,
team.
yeah.
You know that guy from the team?
Yeah, the huge team we run.
Huge team we have. A fantastic team. Works day and night.
Day and night.
Day and night, We have to tap him in and tap him out. On and offset. I'll jump to the first question for this go any further. What was the first example of what a man was in your life?
That's good questions from the team. Very good question.
No, from the team.
From the team.
Shout out to the team.
There's no team.
We are the team.
Save us.
All right, let's go.
Ha now, brown cow.
Yeah.
No, so first question is.
What is that? What the hell was that?
There's something in this. I don't know what it is. This is meant to be
Jesus.
tea. So the first example of a man in your life. I feel like for me, obviously, with like a lot of men, if you're privileged to have had your father there,
Yeah.
they generally, on the whole, again, if you're privileged enough to have that, they kind of set the tone and the example because it's the first, probably man that holds you, the first guy that should, ideally, tell you they love you, first guy to set an example of how to interact with women, how to interact with other men. So for me, it was my dad. So I'm from second generation family. So we moved to the UK when I was like 2 months old, right? So my dad was studying his master's at the time between Germany and the UK. So I didn't see my dad a hell of a lot at the beginning, but like he'd always come back when he sort of could. And then when I got to now, I'd say 6 is when he was like, now solid job, home every day. And the thing that I saw from my dad, like the first example of what a man means is stability. Like that, like whatever happens, there's always a landing pod. Because my mother was a housewife, and I used to think that was just the standard. I thought, no, everyone's mum stays home, and everyone's dad goes out, and every time the dad comes home, tells you he loves you, and it's a very nuclear functioning family. So my first example was very hallmark, just a nuclear family, middle child. But I think the main overarching theme I got from my dad, apart from stability, is how he respected actually women. So from a church background, I think yours is similar. He was always the go-to guy. Like someone comes over, he's like, let me drive you. He would never let a lady like get the train or a lady go late at night. He'd be like, let me drive you back, let me go here. And we used to live miles away. So the first example of going out of your way for somebody in society was we used to have a 2.5 hour drive home after church, and because a lot of our people lived in London. So he would drop like 3 people off before we now do our 2-hour drive back to Oxfordshire. And for me, that was the first thing of like, oh, if you're a man, you look after people. If you're a man, you look after your community. If you're a man, you have a stable home. So that's what I basically, that's my first example of masculinity. Stability and looking after your community, which is
incredible.
a blessing. Yeah. How about you, buddy? What was your first example?
My first example of masculinity was my dad. Yes, but my dad's been a fantastic like leader in terms of leading with the community, leading with your heart, being very clear, being open-minded. But someone who I rarely talk about actually as being one of the first men who nurtured me in my life was my uncle, who lived with us at the time. Because parents were both working. At that time in my life, my dad was also in and out as well, working. But then the thing that happened that I found really crazy was that the person who taught me how to ride a bike was actually my uncle who lived with us.
Oh, that's a
Man,
core
and
memory.
I remember it. Yeah,
That's
I
a
remember
core
it. Like
memory.
him telling me go up and down.
Yeah.
Learn how to ride a bike. He used to push me on the training wheel, the tricycle and stuff. And like after that, he started going to university. So he used to travel between South Sea and Juja. every day.
Oh, that's long.
Like, and he
That's
was
long.
a G about it. The funny thing that he used to do was that he just used to go, come back, he's so tired, he just takes tea.
Yeah.
Takes a whole thermos of tea.
Yeah.
To the point that was even me, I was drinking this tea. I'm wondering,
This gives you man powers.
sugar, spice,
And everything nice.
and everything nice. Yeah, but like, yeah, he used to work really, really hard, and I've kind of watched him improve his life since I was a young boy, and the things he taught me was hard work, drive, and doing it quietly. You know,
Doing it quietly.
doing it quietly. Like, I
age of
feel like,
socials, yeah.
yeah, I feel like a lot of men look for a lot of acknowledgement. You're trying to constantly get big up in your life, and it's like sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Like, sometimes
yeah.
as men, you have to learn how to just quietly be a good father, be a role model, be a consistent person in your family's life, and don't expect any applause. And I feel like that aspect of masculinity is not something that's talked about as much. Everybody's asking, where's your Bugatti? And the real quiet, constant work that it takes to build a home, build a family, you know, foster the next generation, have a respectful career, live a dignified life.
Yeah.
A lot of that is a quiet struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like my point of view is his, which is, and then on top of that, he made some really good decisions when it came to family. So you'll always hear me say I'm using his pace. In the family, in fact, it's a joke. I pace myself accordingly. You know?
Yeah.
Don't rush. Don't rush. There's a phase in life where I felt like, you know, I was like, yeah, maybe I should start dating. He looked at me and said, my friend,
Yeah.
slow down.
Is that where the eat love like a spoon came from? Because it seems like
No.
It's,
I'll give it a quote. Marathon pace. Marathon pace.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
start life sprinting 100 meters. And if you find you're moving quickly in life and succeeding, be very conscious of the fact that you're doing it, and foster your own personality to be able to embrace it. Don't start taking too much responsibility. At the same time, responsibility is good, but then also at the same time, you know, gauge yourself, like, and humble yourself enough to be able to carry out everything you're carrying out in a smooth way. You know, just smooth it out. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes having a curve that goes this way might seem exciting, but a nice little consistent.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a conversation with Smade off camera, and he touched on that same point.
Yeah.
When he was saying, like, you know, you don't want to, when you see things are getting too hot, you know, reduce the heat.
Yeah.
a little
Step
bit.
back,
Yeah,
have
step
a look
back,
at it.
Yeah. This is why for you I usually feel bad for you, because you have to go home in Kenya,
Uh-huh.
deal with the heat of Mantalk, you know, doing what it's doing. And for me, I'm just like, no, slowly.
Yeah.
I want it nice and calm.
Yeah. I think the only blessing that we've had with this platform is the gradual growth means that we've been able to have perspective even when it's fast.
Yeah.
Because it's been
That's a banger sentence.
Yeah, it's facts, because we've watched it gradually grow. We've watched people's reactions change. We've watched friends change. We've watched the gal them change. So like we're very
Them sugar.
Yeah, come on. We're very like we've got a good perspective. So when something like even because I feel like you've mentioned, life can sort of do this, but sometimes it can be slow for a long time and then it spikes.
Yeah.
But if you've had that section of stability,
Yeah.
it's the same way when people talk about when people come, like a Justin Bieber, for instance, going on a tangent now. I always feel like the worst thing to happen to someone is for them to get a lot of acknowledgement, success, power, and like fame after 25. I feel like when you get to 20, when you've done 25 years, you've been able to experience like what reality is, like as a real human being.
Look, Justin Bieber has done that. Like,
he's a G.
Yeah,
A lot of time for JB.
Like, and I don't think many people would be able to do that. Where it's like you're able to achieve a lot of success very young and then start to grow. Not that we've done it, but like I feel like it takes a lot of perspective to be able to detach yourself from your own material success and like focus on yourself as a person. And that pacing yourself, that relax. Everyone's moving, but relax. There's a lot of things moving, but relax. Just stay focused, keep your head down, and keep that marathon pace, because you know, as Kipchoge likes to say, a man who's not disciplined is a slave to his desires.
Facts. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I brought JB is because you've sort of seen how if you don't experience it through life prior, you just experience a lot of pain because there's a lot of consequence with the power and fame. Okay. Now, I think we've kind of answered the second one, which is just for the people to know. So it's what parts of their masculinity have you taken and what have you disregarded? We can talk on the latter. What have we disregarded from the masculinity?
Wow. it's a difficult one because guys will be in the top 3. But parts of their masculine, I think there's a way that there's a perspective that I have that's my own. It's not disregarding anything from anyone. It's just that thing where it's like I am living a very unique story. J. Cole says no role models, you know, and truly there's been absolutely no role models when it comes to where we are now. There's never been another me. But I've had a lot of role models, but there's never been another me who's living the life that I'm living. And that means I have to create my own unique analysis of what it means to be a man in today's society, living my life and living in my reality. You can't just incorporate this, and that's something that I usually find pretty hard, especially in society today, where there's this, we keep saying this echo chamber. There's this perspective where it's, you want to have your own ideals that you distill and come up with in your own mind. You get what I mean? And you use your own social analysis to come up with an identity that that obviously identifies, but an identity that you can incorporate as a man. You know what I mean? And that identity must be outside of other people's life experiences and only within yourself. So there's a self-awareness that it takes to be able to like consciously, you know, invest in yourself in that unique way.
100%. I always look at it like sort of Play-Doh, right? So if you've got Play-Doh on a table, you've got loads of mounds of it, you take the best bits from each person and make your own pile. That's how I kind of look at it when in terms of like learning from mentors, because there's going to be a part like the FMS system, friendship management system. There's going to be parts of somebody that outstanding. Let me take your time management skills. Boom. Outstanding. Let me take your empathy. Boom. That's how I've sort of seen it. In terms of, I think the word disregard was a poor choice from our team.
It was a very poor choice from our team.
I would say
shout out to the team.
I would say the thing that I've kind of amended is the word I'd use from my dad's perspective, because he's the first role model, is I feel like there was a glorification of struggle and pain. And that comes from changing country and realizing it takes a lot, but sometimes you get to a point where you've done what it takes, but you've been conditioned to go through this level of discomfort to achieve success. When you've achieved success, you still strive for that level of discomfort, thinking you need to carry on and go further.
No. How much have you disregarded it? Because I don't think you have.
And this is the thing, because that's what I've seen. I feel like it's kind of innate in me. Like so, I've had to go against it. Perfect example is being like, I will make sure I find myself on a holiday. I will make sure I will go to coast. I will make sure I'll go hang out with my boys. There'll be a few weekends where you won't find me because I'm having a vibe. But somebody like my father and his generation, they didn't even allow space for that. And especially when you come outside of the Kenyan context, because there's a very healthy social life back home. On a Saturday after church, you go out, you have lunch, etc. But here, your days are shorter if it's not summer, and a lot of your time is office, Sunday, church, home, and the only time you see people is maybe Sunday for 2 hours. But the glorification of your cycle is no, because I have to achieve here before I can enjoy myself.
It's true, because it's then now it becomes, you've grown into it.
Then it becomes your habit.
It becomes very difficult to start saying, take a holiday.
Take a holiday. Why? For
Why?
what?
For what? Yeah, I don't, holidays are for, what type of man am I sleeping?
Why am I sleeping?
Why am I sleeping?
Do you know what? It's to the point.
Yeah, even my dad.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? It's that kind of, I don't know if glorification is the word, but it kind of is, because they've associated that with success. But realize there's a tertiary thing where you can actually have space for your mind to open up so you can even excel higher. A perfect example, I think I talked about this on another episode, is when I live in the same house as my father, I cannot let him see me sleep.
What?
Yeah, and I don't know if I said this before in an episode or if I was talking to my sister, but so basically in our family home in Kent, it's like 4 floors, right? So I was on the 3rd, he was on the 4th. So his stairs used to come past my room. So there's a thing where when I was younger, say when I was at uni and I had a lecture in the afternoon, but he's going to work, I can't let him go past my room, because he used to open the door and be like, hi, or check on me. If I hear him coming down the stairs, I'm like, no, good morning, yes, yeah, I'm awake, yep. And as soon as he goes, I go back, because in my mind, the version of masculinity, sleep wasn't associated with a successful man. So that's why, even for me, like now, when we used to work together and check, he'd get up at 5 a.m, so I was like, I have to get up at 4 a.m. So that's been a consistent factor where I have to prioritize sleep, because that's not what I've associated success and masculinity with. Why are you laughing, Mr. Comment?
It's very funny.
Why?
Story. Yeah, man, like, jeez, I'm seeing like you jump out of bed,
good morning, I woke
up 30 minutes ago. That time he knows probably.
Yeah.
He's probably had the scuffling.
He's like, Pombe.
Smelling like,
what's going on here?
The room smelling like beer. My dad's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's straight. My dad's really chill.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
whenever he was looking for me, the way he usually does it is he'll just be noisy.
Yeah, that's
You know
so loud.
You know the way I am. Hey, you just say hey,
Hey, my son.
hey. Opens the door, walks in, starts talking.
Okay, yeah.
He expects you've had me come.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He better wake up.
Ain't nobody sleeping.
I know he's then he starts telling me about. Yeah, he's such a cool guy. But so my dad's.
Yeah.
But I don't think he works extremely hard, and like
Yeah.
I find it so crazy. But I've never really deeped it that way. Like I myself, you see me sleep, I wouldn't lie.
Yeah. But dad, if you're watching this,
Yeah, we
just
love
take
you.
a holiday, buddy. Take up golf.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah. They
I
need
say
that,
take up golf.
Might
Do
do
you
a
know what I mean?
Mantalk episode where you just tell our dads you're jumping out and you're flying. No. Everything stops.
Yeah. We should talk to our dads on Mantalk. That'd be a vibe. Cameras from behind. Obviously, cameras from behind. Where they say, child of my youth. Let me tell you.
You guys, before he agrees, it will be another one. Are you struggling with adapting to the new definitions of masculinity in modern society? What are the new definitions? I'd like to ask the team. What are the new definitions of masculinity?
I'm getting something from the. Okay, yeah. The new definitions. They just let me know. It's based on the access to information, right? And based on the louder conversations that are happening. I feel prior to maybe our generation or the baby boomers, there wasn't very many debates and conversation on a public level. A lot of these debates used to maybe happen with your friends, or when it's just in a country club or at the golf club or other clubs. Like there used to be debates, but after that conversation, no one really sees it. Now, when there's access to so many perspectives, I feel like, again, from the Play-Doh example, people have taken so many versions of what masculinity is, and they've tried to create the optimal one, right? Or they've tried to create the incel culture, which is the other. Now, in a forming world where there's just so many opinions, and then you've got your father's generation telling you this is what a man is, you've got the very like liberal and progressive people saying no, this is what it is, then you've got the ladies telling you this is what masculinity is. It's kind of, again, taking the best pieces, and sometimes it's things that go against your nature. I was having a conversation with my sister yesterday, and as young men, we're trying to uphold very high standards, which means not objectifying women, as a perfect example, right? As a guy, our natural instinct sometimes, when you see a girl, is to look like 2 or 3 times. Like that's just an innate thing in me,
of course.
right? But then you kind of find yourself going, no. She's not just a woman to just look. You want to just.
Do you find yourself doing that?
Yeah, like stopping. If you're in the car, right, and you look, you're like, no, being uphold. Like it's those things that you genuinely struggle with.
I have no filter.
Yeah.
I'm not, I would like
and then there's the side
I'm the
of.
type to go, what's going on over there? You know me.
Put the window down. Everyone's hooting. 1 second. Hey, Shorty.
I don't go, hey, shorty. I don't go as far, but I will look. I need to wear shades now. Wearing shades.
And
just
start
like,
tinting all the windows in the
sheesh.
car. But there's some things that like the type A male, the type like the alpha male. There's some things that we should take from there, and there's some things that we should disregard. But it's finding that I struggle with finding the middle ground and upholding things that sometimes go against what I've been taught. So it's the unlearning that sometimes I struggle with.
I agree.
Even when it comes to things like aggression.
Yeah.
When do you use it? When do you don't? When it comes to flirting, we talked about in another episode. How far do you now go in modern society? What can you say?
That's
What
now
can't
the
you say?
problem, isn't
So
it?
we're kind of walking a tightrope while trying to be also true to yourself, not just taking somebody else's own ideals.
Yeah,
so it's
and to be honest, if you're not conscious of it, it'll land you in a lot of trouble. That's the other thing, like with cancel culture, the definitions of masculinity that are now being propagated are very anti-aggression, anti-competitive, and I'm like, but then
There's a space for that.
But then now in the context of the opposite sex, it's been aggrandized. So now for them, we are all, but then it's like,
what does aggrandized mean?
like it's like being, it's like someone's being it's like being, how can I put it? Celebrated, overly.
And that's a good word. I didn't know that. Aggrandized.
It's like being celebrated. Like it's constantly being celebrated by people of the opposite sex, because like us as men, we're expected to now placate and just remain docile. You want, because there was a quote somewhere that said, it's online page, I'll remember, but it was, all the ladies want Superman, but always go past Clark
Clark
Kent.
Kent. That is a bar.
Yeah.
All the
Clark
ladies
Kent is
want
a
to say.
clumsy, vulnerable, ta-da-da.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
then Clark Kent is this monolith of power. I mean, Superman is this monolith of power, and
Yeah,
Clark
yeah.
Kent is this like clumsy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be aware of that. I think as a guy, it's
Yeah,
like you're.
yeah.
I come from a community where masculinity is identified as a God-fearing man, a family man, and a man who upholds certain standards and virtues. Sometimes it can come off as aggressive, it can come off as too traditional, but that is the unit, that is the family unit. So the idea is to be more open and inclusive to these ideas, but to not forget that there are certain values that may be traditional and may seem to be, less woke, but
yeah.
that is the family, that is the glue that keeps the home together.
Yeah,
You can't be just switching masculinity on and off when you want it.
Exactly.
You can't be like, I want him to be responsible for the home, but I want a traditional man, but I don't want to have traditional values. Well,
Yeah.
but it's it's not up to us to determine what masculinity. It's not up to the world to determine what masculinity is for me. And I will always say it: the world will not tell me what masculinity is. It will try very hard, but I'll determine what masculinity is for myself.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, if you allow people to keep like pumping their own values in you, then the danger is that you start living a life that's not yours. It's not a reflection of your reality.
Yeah.
I mean, where will you get your Bugatti if you're from East Africa?
Yeah.
From where? Where from?
Yeah. Was that rhetorical?
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to answer that.
It's very rhetorical.
I don't see dealerships.
See, that's an example of African parenting.
Yeah.
Fantastic example of African parenting. You ask rhetorical questions, and to the point everyone in the room's wondering, will Eli answer that? No. So that's a form of
That's one of the
masculinity.
veins. I think the way that I've kind of tried to take on all these like nuances and make my own definition is just remaining fluid and completely open to learn, try, and disregard what works. That's been my sort of thing. Like, I strive to have, like yesterday I was on the train with my sister and she was telling me about a podcast episode that in my mind everything was okay. And she said, no, consider this. So one of the things that I think sometimes masculinity we don't, or just men in general I've heard, we don't do is actually open our ears and like listen to the opinion and take on board without giving your counter for the sake of giving your counter. That's one of the main things I've kind of learned. So through using that skill in that conversation, I was able to hear a completely different perspective of a podcast episode we both listened to, and I came away thinking everything's fine, but she said, no, this language is dangerous. He's saying something, but he's not saying something. It's the way, it's the route he's taken to explain the point. And I feel like when you're able to absorb information from everyone, like a kid, a young lady, a sister, a mother, and then extract value and trying that in the real world, I think that's when you start to become the optimal version of a man.
I agree. One of the weaknesses I'd say in these masculinity discussions is there's a lot of diagnosis. We diagnose,
science.
We diagnose the illness. You're diagnosing it. You're not making enough money. You're not getting enough respect. You're not, you're not coming up in life quickly enough. You're finding that you're not able to build a family. You're not having enough sex. It's a lot of diagnosis. Then when it comes to let us create holistic solutions.
They just say, now, it's women. That's
it's
the
not
solution.
just it's women. It's that thing. Of course, but it's that thing where it's like, how do we take feedback from both sides to create a society that we can look at and be proud of? That's just been the question. That's been the question I've been asking on this podcast since we started. Like, why must it be an us versus them discussion instead of a holistic conversation? For example, one of the best episodes we've ever had, of course, when I say best I never had it, it's the same thing, but one of our best episodes has been the one we did with Over 25 and Georgie on sex. Now, you'll hear perspectives that are very different.
It's
people. An open-ended conversation. There's no forcing or imposing views or ideas. You just listen. You go, okay, that's interesting. And you let everyone make their own judgments outside of, on the other side of the camera, behind the fourth wall. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're constantly diagnosing, and there's no real remedying. There's no real platforms that allow us to sit down together and actually come up with tangible solutions that move society forward. Otherwise, we'll just stay. I mean, my son will find us still arguing like this. It's okay, he can. I mean, it'll be episode 1000 or something. But it's absolutely fine. Anyway, let me move on to the next question.
Next one,
How much has movies, music, and social media played a part in defining you as a man?
My goodness me. There's 3 bits: music, movies, and
social media.
I would say the number one thing I think in terms of giving you imagery and mentally stimulating you is movies. you can have music, but you can't see, right? Social media, there's not long-term narratives unless you're watching something on YouTube, which is someone's personal life. So growing up, when I'm first informed, is going to be through movies. I feel like the kind of movies I watched as a kid, first of all, was that Superman thing. So my main thing that now is it how it impacted me in my version of masculinity. Because my first thing.
How did it help you in defining yourself as a man?
Yeah, my first thing I thought when I was my first sort of movies, the narrative always given to me was the Disney narrative of like, man, save woman, man, strong, man, solve problems, right? So that was like my sort of first definition. As I've kind of carried on watching movies, the ones that I'm drawn to now, and we talked about this on one of our lives, is I'm a big rom-com guy. Like at the moment, I think maybe because of the phase in life I'm in, I'm kind of drawn to things that I want to learn more about. So if I'm talking fictional, a lot of my movies that I watch, either like, there's going to be the action bit, but a lot of it is rom-com because I'm sort of learning sort of different narratives. One of my favorite series is it's the one, it's called, it was taken from a New York Times article, and then they made now a series from it. It's called Love in something. And basically the premise of it is, it gives like 4 or 5 different versions of relationships, and then they sort of all intertwine at the end. If anyone knows what this is called, put it in the comments. And what that did for me is, you never got to see behind the wall of, if you're just looking at let's say a Japanese couple, you wouldn't know what their dynamic and things of love looks like. You'd assume it's the same as yours. But watching things where I'm starting to see different perspectives, like this would dive into how a dynamic where a very wealthy man marries a very poor woman, a very wealthy woman marries a poor man. So I've been indulging in stuff that's in the love category, helped me understand different narratives, how two people sort of come together. How that's informed me is I've realized that I have to question absolutely everything that I've kind of learned from typical conversations, and take in what I can, like the lessons from like the Play-Doh thing, back to that, taking the lessons I can of how that dynamic works, and then sort of form my own ideal in the love category. So I'd say I'm a curious watcher at the moment when it comes to film. They've impacted me in terms of the love category lately. Maybe that speaks to where I am in life.
Yeah, so okay. Then I'll answer on movies, then you can move to music. But I think movies have played a pivotal role. Like when I've thought about it, fundamental role in how defined, like what in defining my masculinity. I'll start off with something as like Toy Story. At first, Toy Story is the perfect example of 2 different men. Buzz Lightyear. You get what I mean? Yeah. Buzz Lightyear is this Buzz,
alpha.
I'm Sergeant Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear. Like I'm super competent. I'm the super competent space ranger, and like I don't feel emotions. Yeah. I don't feel not much. Then you have Woody, you're vulnerable, funny, cool guy, and like you just see that journey in life, and there's no real, like definitions you need to hold on to. But like as a young boy, from like, and because I used to watch that when I was born. You just realize that like there's 2 ways to live your life, right? This guy is more mysterious. People don't even have his context. Buzz. With Woody, he's more relatable. He's the town village, village leader, Mr. Potato. Then you're Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, with his long-standing wife.
With his long-standing wife. Like there's those little things.
Shout out to
there's
him.
those little things that like help you see who you are as a man. Then you go to The Incredibles or Lion King.
Oh, that was my.
Are you joking?
My bread and butter.
I mean, don't you think Mufasa's role kind of impacted what you meant? What being a man?
Dealing with loss, isolation.
Are you joking?
What, revenge, emotions,
envy,
family
dynamics,
carrying the weight of a town.
Simba having to find himself as a man without his father.
Change society. Thought leader.
The trauma. The trauma. Like
he's a thought leader.
Yeah, he's a thought leader.
Like Rafiki.
Yeah, Rafiki. Rafiki is the old man.
Wise man, yeah.
I mean,
he lives in you. Don't get me started.
Yeah, I mean, I know you could.
Listen.
Then Simba and Nala. Are we not gonna say?
There's
goodness me. There's a scene where he was given the look.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, what's
Anyone
up?"
who's watching this knows the look.
Did you? Let's get weird. So did you ever have those?
Yeah.
Did you ever have those like Disney characters that, as a boy, you're like, why am I so drawn to this person? Jasmine from Aladdin. What?
Quietly.
Yes. That woman.
I was like,
that.
But the boy was smooth.
Come on. A whole new world. Oh my goodness. He's like, I ain't got nothing, but I've got talk.
The boy was.
That's steam over.
Must have been from South Sea.
Listen, still some apples for you, baby. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, like the Disney era and the definition of film through cartoon, of masculinity through things like cartoons. The Incredibles.
Oh,
The Incredibles is another fantastic cartoon on what it means. Incredibles 1 and 2, like on what it means to be a dad.
Yeah.
You've married an equal.
Yeah, that is. Talk on it. Preach.
Yeah, you've
Come on
married
now.
an equal. Like she was a superhero just as much as you were in the beginning.
Career.
Like you would have, career.
Debate.
She put her
put
career
her
aside.
aside.
Yeah, for you.
Now turn up.
No, you turn up. Now you have to turn up every day. You know you're a superhero.
And you see him in the car with the tie.
You see him in the car with the tie. And you know you can lift the building. You have this annoying boss who's like, you could see.
Yeah.
You could see.
My God.
Yeah, like you could see. Then you have children who, you have this kid called Dash who's like rebellious, too shifty.
Yeah, you see yourself in him.
And then he has to hold himself back to accommodate others.
Yeah, and then he knows when to turn it on.
Exactly.
And it's that thing we've talked about,
that pacing.
That pacing. And also the idea of this guy, the Taekwondo guy that says the beauty of a man is knowing you have that lion energy in you and knowing when to release it. And like watching Dash's struggle with having that inside him and releasing it when he has to save his sister. Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, what a film. What a film.
The Incredibles.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and then the time when, because he's lived so long in family life and he's felt so withheld, he has to keep a secret from his wife, so he's about to jump into an affair.
Yeah.
What are you saying? What are you saying? And then his wife is
bad. Sweet one.
Imagine a chick with an elastic body. What are we saying? What are we talking about?
Who was in the writer's room?
I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people right now getting BBLs. Blah, blah, blah. Imagine if your superpower was proportions exactly what you want. You texted this morning.
I don't know how those kids were made.
What's your
On
deal?
the ceiling. He lifted up a building.
What are you joking?
What was that? What was going on there?
Then you have one single friend who's like able to understand. Like, this was the one that like, it's very subtle.
Iceman.
The super gifted kid, the ultra super gifted kid who was born as a baby.
Has
everything. He has everything.
Yeah.
And he has to figure out how to control everything. And there's only one auntie who's super duper successful.
She is my favorite person in the world.
She's like, leave me with the baby.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, leave me with the baby, Harold.
When she goes with through the keyhole.
Yeah, then like, okay, Jack, okay, darling. And she's the only one. And isn't this the truth, right?
Yeah.
In my own life, and you know this, right? I've had mentors who've, because I'm from East Africa. I'm like from a part of the world where like there's a lot of educated people, but the opportunities aren't so much, and I've had certain talents and certain gifts. And if it wasn't for those individuals who had seen that I can do certain things, they would not have made the investments that they made for me to even be here in London right now.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
That's
so in a
facts.
sense, like when I look at
Parallels.
Jack, it's like from a young age, like from when I was super young.
Yeah.
My mom made sure I was surrounded by people who could see and understand and uplift me.
Yeah.
And like that, when I watched The Incredibles, that has defined me as a man. It has. That's another defining film.
Yeah, man. That's
Yeah, let's continue. I can. Are you guys? I got juice here. Let's jump in. James Bond era, 2007.
So James Bond is a tough one, bro.
Listen,
James is a bit
James
of a...
Bond. James Bond. Like you can't say he didn't change something because like James Bond came in when we were around 15, 16. Now you're seeing a guy who's emotionally invulnerable. Like he seems pretty tortured.
Can't settle down.
Yeah, can't settle down.
Yeah.
But he's living that high that life.
Trust issues on that man.
Yeah.
Trust issues.
Then the one time, like in Casino, come on, let's get in this. In Casino Royale, the one time, Vespa, at the end of in the beginning, you see him meet someone completely emotionally disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And then in the end of the movie, what does she say?
I can't remember.
So he's been tortured. And like he's been hit, like there was a torture scene where he was hit by the guy, the guy who used to cry tears.
Yeah.
And then he's been hit in his like crotch, so now he can't perform and have sex.
Yeah.
And like he's sitting like there resting, he's still things haven't reset.
Yeah, there's Tumbers. Yeah.
Sorry. And his wife says, and the Vespa comes to him and says, even without that, you've never been more of a man than you are right now.
I'm watching that film again.
I'm telling you.
It's been a long time.
Forward it to the,
I think it's 2012, no?
I'm telling you right now. We'll even probably look for the clip and try and see if we can share this.
It has to happen.
Yeah, we'll put it. You've never been more of a man than you have been right now. This is after he's gone through all of these things and stuff, and he's saved her. He has the girl, and like you look at him and you know this is his chick.
Yeah.
This is his girl.
Which girl is it? Is it the same one in the last film?
Yeah, it's the first film. Then now, so that's how the series starts. Quantum of Solace comes in. What happens? She dies.
I need to rewatch that.
She dies. She dies. She's taken away from him. and now Bond is the Bond that's been started
Trauma.
with.
Yeah.
Vespa dies. Vespa dies with him desperately. He sees her drown. He tries to reach her.
I can't remember these.
Watch
I need to
it.
rewatch
James
this
Bond,
film.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Those are defining films because like he's smooth, he's suave, he's net. But the one thing that he's always had taken away from him is the love of his life.
Yeah.
Or the Bond girls always die.
Yeah.
Right?
And the one lady that's consistent in his life is deep.
Exactly. Then
Yeah.
Skyfall comes.
Yeah.
Skyfall. What happens?
And then she,
M gets killed.
Why did I say D? Yeah.
Yeah, M gets killed.
Yeah.
M gets killed in Skyfall. She dies in the end. That's his female mentor.
Yeah.
Dies. Next movie, Spectre. The guy behind all of his pain. He finally settles down again. Then finally finish
If you haven't seen, finish
finish the
God.
series.
And he dies
for his wife and the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't get to have that relationship with the newest woman in his life. Trauma.
That's
tragic.
Tragic.
What a
trauma.
story.
I mean,
story.
and it's the hero's journey. It's like.
Yeah.
And let's not talk about how it's defined, how fashion. Let's not talk about.
So after every Bond film, we used to go and watch, see
Quarter
what his
zips.
item.
Are you joking?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Did you ever go after the film and go and look at the wardrobe and be like, £700 for a T-shirt? Nah, fair enough.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
I've
Did you
never
ever
had
look
to
at
make
it?
that choice.
It's horrible. Horrible. You feel so poor.
Yeah. So like the Bond films, then it's just like I could keep going. Then when I was going through the toughest time, so in interest of time, the toughest time I went through in my life, I remember the film that got me out of it or gave me perspective was Crazy Stupid Love.
What a film.
Yeah.
What a film.
Another
That's
story.
probably my top 3 rom-coms.
Another story on masculinity.
Yeah.
Another story on masculinity.
Yeah.
Right? Man, a man, open scene is him getting divorced by his wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, crashes,
his wife is cheating on him, but because of a man called David Lindhagen.
Yeah, Lindhagen.
Yeah, he goes from bar to bar,
Yeah.
crying and moping, looking for sympathy. Another man
Sees that.
sees that,
Yeah.
and he's younger than him.
Yeah.
And he tells me, you know what? I'll bring you back to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Takes him under his wing. Younger than him.
Yeah.
Takes him
What a
under his
film.
wing. Yeah.
What a film.
Then helps him. Then there's a scene he says, what a line he says. He says, you at some point in your life, you lost sight of who you were as a man. And that's why your wife left you. I'll put that clip right here.
Yeah.
I'll put that clip right
Yeah,
here. And then
yeah.
when he's dressing up, he's like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, he works in the exterior. He works in the exterior.
Are you Steve Jobs from Apple?
Yeah.
Are you
He's like,
Steve Jobs from Apple?
slaps. Yeah.
Slaps him, keeps buying him cards. So this guy is now taught to invest in
Himself.
yourself.
And it sometimes starts from the outside.
Exactly.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, because like you've been investing so much in the family, you forgot to invest in yourself.
You're wearing New Balance.
And,
Do you know what I mean?
You're wearing New Balance.
Yeah. Man.
There's
that film.
another.
And then ultimately, they both learn to find their inner man and get in touch with love, and then they both he goes back to his love and he finds love with the daughter.
I'm telling you.
What?
I'm telling you.
So ultimately they start with hard shell, like all men do.
Yeah.
You start with the hard shell, bar to bar, you've got all the skills you need, the flirt we talked about.
And
in
he
the other
finally
episode.
meets a woman who he...
And in all that, they, take a left and you end up actually falling in love. But sometimes you need that outer James Bond to be able to be in that room.
No, you have to know how to invest. I mean,
100%.
he takes him back to the gym to working out.
No, exactly, yeah.
He
you have
makes
to.
sure that he's more...
It's a journey.
She asked, the women, in fact, there was this scene where his child's teacher is madly in love with him.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like shocking. It's like, why the hell does she like me this much? It's because you're no longer the same guy.
Yeah, but I always say, in my opinion, I feel like it's good to go through that phase where you have options. You've learned to find out what you want from a lady before you get to a lady. Because I feel like some guys, they never have that. They boss up, they source up, they get some money when they're like 40, they're married. Then they don't know how to deal with the attention. I think it's key to kind of get that attention and that respect from women prior to getting a relationship. So that it doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah, because you
after the
choose.
fact. Yeah, you choose and
one
you
of the
know
most
it's a choice.
powerful things I was told about that was you choose your wife that should not choose you.
Yeah, facts.
Choose your wife.
Facts.
Choose who
Facts.
you want to spend as a young man.
100%.
Choose who you want to spend your life with.
You have to find out what you want from women. If you don't interact with any prior,
you'll just choose the
you're
one that
first
looks
one.
best.
Yeah, exactly. The first one that looks best. Man, what a film. So now the final segment of that question was music. 3, 2, 1, Drake. Yeah, of course,
But
Drake.
then he's a bit problematic.
No,
He's a bit
don't do that.
he's a bit
Don't do that on this
problematic.
podcast.
He's a bit
Don't do.
problematic.
Let me tell you what Drake's done for me in my life.
He's a bit
Let me tell you what
problematic. He's a
Drake's
bit
done for me in my
problematic.
life. And Michael B. Jordan said the same thing, right? because we're very
You and
similar.
I both know. I wouldn't say that
We're
with my
very,
teeth.
no, listen. He said that not the hair loss thing, not the hair loss thing.
Her loss
said-
is the reason.
No,
What are you saying? I like Drake for her loss. I'm messing with you.
He said that, and this happened to me as well. Drake has been able to speak to what I'm going through at every single moment of my life. With this podcast, with my business, there is a Drake line for every moment of my life.
Do you see how I baited him?
Every single moment of my life. Don't do that on this
I
podcast.
basically
Don't do
just
this on
fall
this podcast. Let me
full
tell you,
thousand for it.
sometimes I go back, I listen to Take Care,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I get it on a different level. It's like I go back again and I hear the album differently because some of the lines I hadn't experienced yet, right? I'm not going to say some of them because
Back and forth from Italy, the comment section killing me.
2 weeks ago, what's up? Do you know what I mean? Like I get it. So like it's
Man, I get so passionate, you don't know the
the
half of it.
I feel like at some
I've
point
been in the studio since 6:45.
and my haters either on the way to
When
work or
they
they
arrive.
Come on. So I feel
You
like
know when it comes to pride, I don't put that
See
shit
the
aside.
side.
I make it when I was down, and that
matters
matters now.
now.
Hey, you know I love Drake.
Copyright strike on this.
Hey, you know it weak. Hey,
You sound exactly like him. The point is,
yeah,
Drake, when it comes to even masculinity,
yeah.
he was one of the first artists that he'll mention Lakeisha in a song or Tisha in a song. And he'll talk about him not winning as a man and put that into hip hop, art where you do not talk about weakness. Like for me, that was the first time that I was able to appreciate art, not just for the beat, not for the sound, but for what the guy's actually saying and then relating to it. Because sometimes when something goes wrong, he'll actually talk about it. And also it's saucy at the same time. And then in the same album, he's in his feelings and then he'll hit you with a rap, how he feels as, so that duality of I'm feeling things and also like, I'm still that guy. I'm going through it. Because I think that's what a man is. Like, you have to be able to merge the two. Tap into the softest side. What a track. About the times we had. I swear. So that's, for me, that's why I appreciate Drake. Because I know in 30 years' time, 20 years' time, I'll go back to like Take Care again and I'll listen to The Real Her. And I'll be like, again, I get it.
The
So
girl
Drake-
that I'm in love with is like a danger to my health. Trying to be with somebody that ain't happy being herself.
the guy, like,
He knows.
and then
He
it also
knows.
slaps. So for me, like that, Drake, ultimate, just,
I guess that's just emotion.
yeah, it is just emotion.
It is just emotion.
It's just, yeah, for me, it's just like, and I hope he doesn't stop, man. Because I heard some stuff that he wants to chill.
Like, listen,
'cause
hey.
I want him to still be talking when he's 50.
Yeah, like, let me tell you something. Drake is like, it's been iconic. Like, this podcast, as we go through moment by moment,
Every single time.
It's Drake.
And if you know us, you know that's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
you know it's fine. If
come
you,
on.
it's Drake. Champagne Papi has
Yeah.
like, he's helped us like. There's certain moments we have.
Oh my god.
And it's only me and Eli know.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
because we are such Drake fans that
Yeah.
we just
Bar for bar, just
for
any
bar.
bar.
And
Yeah,
that's why it's just for me. It's just
yeah. It's
at the back of my head.
yeah. So I appreciate the vulnerability put into art and also still saucy, so you can bump it in a car 2 tracks later after crying.
For example, let me give you one right now. Has context. Find me somewhere in London.
You know that's the hideaway. I need some
And some moral support from you.
right away.
Hey, right away, babes, when I arrive.
So shout out to Drake.
Shout out to Drake.
This is
Hey.
a Drake-led podcast.
This is a
I'll say it again,
Drake-led
it's a Drake-led podcast. Drake-led podcast.
I have one.
Tell me.
There's another guy, and his name is J. Cole. Hey,
Yeah.
let me tell you a song that's been hitting.
Tell me.
Tell
me.
Hitting me till here.
The twist
No, till
with a
here.
W.
I took a power trip back home. Hey, the clubs that I used to get tossed out. Hey, life was crisscross, now I'm totally bossed out.
Now I'm in this.
Hey, where?
Still on you.
Wait.
Would you believe me if I said I'm in love?
Would you? Hey.
I want you to want me. Nah, shout out to
I
Jermaine.
just took a power trip back home. Hey.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, like,
Tell me why.
that album, Bon Sina, and
Opposite of
Forest Hills Drive.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
prophecies that I made back in the
Ville.
Ville.
Fulfilled.
Hey, South Sea boys know.
Come on,
The
yeah.
South Sea boys know.
Made
We
in the
prophesied
Ville.
these
In the
days.
Ville, I
We
swear.
said it.
Yeah.
I said it. I used to. Let me tell you something. I used to sit down, like in my lowest days, I used to sit down in the car and just play that song. Just me and my boy. Shout to Njoro. I used to sit down and just put the window up and then I play it. And I'm like, listen to this. Listen to the words. You know. Hey,
Yeah.
Something make you come fast like 911 in white neighborhoods. Where?
I ain't got no shame about it.
Ain't got no shame about it. Yeah? She's saying, hey, oh man, like I just like there's a way when you're a young man, music, especially hip hop, like if you're a black man, there's a way hip hop like really expresses the way you feel. Put me anywhere on God's green earth, I'd triple my worth. Yeah. That's a Jay-Z bar. Yeah. Like I could keep keep telling you how many times, because I grew up, like I said, in South Sea, and I grew up with Issa. Now Issa, for a lot of those who don't know, was one of the biggest rappers in the history, if not the biggest rapper in the history of Kenya. In terms of, but there's others who've come up, but like growing up for me, he was number one. And like he was from, I used to live in a place called Ruby Estate, and Issa was in Halai. And the songs that the girls used to skip to, boom, and the songs that we used to sing, you know, walking out, going home in the barber shops, were all his songs. So my ear for hip hop started when I was really, really young. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so like I've just grown living off of hip hop. And then there's that band called Sauti Sol.
One for the ladies.
Sauti Sol. Yeah. Like we've had the opportunity to have band members here. Yeah. And people don't understand. Like you don't understand.
That week I've never seen you more animated. That week when the boys were coming on from Sauti Sol, never seen that animated.
You don't understand.
Nah.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
Like you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I can say I'm, you know, like we have some sort of relationship, and like we can actually communicate with them, and they're so open with us sometimes. Yeah. You don't understand. Yeah. You don't understand. Yeah. You don't understand what that means to me. Like a lot of people, you know, they see, you know, they probably see us on Mantalk and assume we're just like. Another one for the ladies on his plate. You've seen me in a concert. I'm the loudest.
Let me tell you, this guy.
I'm the loudest.
Yeah, nah. Yeah. We have to contain him.
Yeah. I'm the loudest. That's my jam. I'm the loudest, and I don't care. I don't care. So like,
shout out to them,
music for me has really has helped document my experience as a man. It has helped me understand that I'm not alone in this. We're not alone in this as men. Like everywhere across the world, we're going through the same things. Yeah. All I need in this life is
me and my girlfriend.
Me and my girlfriend.
Can't relate. But yeah, for me, it's there's just some certain sonics that just speak to exactly what your mood is, because there's some things you can't articulate. Yeah. But when someone hits a certain key, it hits exactly how you're feeling. Like that intro to Love Yours. Yeah. Just that piano. Like when it comes on, you just reflection. You go into reflection. Life that's better than yours. And it comes, no such thing. Yeah. So that for me, that's the Jermaine one.
Or the first one. the Jermaine song about his first. No, that's no role models. We already spoke about no role models, which is the one where he's talking about
that first time.
Yeah.
She
was in my math class.
Yeah. And
you know, every guy's had that experience where J. Cole described, which is your first sexual experience, and you're looking for answers in porn.
Excited for mine.
And like you most of the guys listening to this have had that first sexual experience, and J. Cole tells that story so well, and man.
It's the vulnerability.
If they ever see this, man.
Jermaine, Aubrey, the boys. Let's have a coffee. Kendrick Lamar. We can't go there. We can't go there.
We don't have time.
We can't go there. Yeah. But it's exactly 3 or 5.
Yeah.
Guys, we could have gone for hours and hours.
We could have.
But that was just a little. We'll keep talking about masculinity. Keep talking about our personal experiences. I hope that this has been some sort of value to you. And thank you for watching this podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it.
Half as much as we
enjoyed making it, because we had a ball. Come on. See you next week, guys. Peace.